Everyone wants the perfect career, but rarely does it go that way. From AI flipping the table to a challenging job market, it's hard to know what decisions to make and what path you should follow. We're bringing together people leaders at companies of all shapes and sizes to share their perspectives, both big and small, on what paths you should follow and decisions you should make for your career. I'm Peter Zotto, founder and CEO of Trove, and this is Career Chess. You're the Chief People Officer at Toast, but you didn't have a traditional path to get there. Tell me about that.
I, at the age of 5, wanted to be an astronaut, like some 5-year-olds.
Sure.
Most of those 5-year-olds maybe grow out of that. I didn't. I still haven't. So I went to school for it. So I went to school to study astrophysics and geophysics.
Astrophysics, right.
And at some point I was in a lab with my thesis and I was like, I need more people in my life. So at some point I found my way to Google, which was part happenstance and part luck. I was 23 at the time. And in the next 10 years during my career at Google, got to work for some incredible leaders. And at the time of my career, I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I wanted to spend my time doing or like what was great and what wasn't. But I think I learned early on how incredible, valuable, awesome leadership really is in the context of really probably anything. And so I think over time, I had learned that the thing that got me out of bed in the morning, I was running like sales teams and customer success teams. It wasn't the number. It wasn't like building this like really tightly screwed operation. It was, how do you find an amazing group of people, put them together to do amazing things? It's sort of a basic premise. It's really only been, if you had asked me even when I was like maybe 10 years ago, am I going to be a chief people officer one day? I probably would have told you like, probably no.
Yeah.
No. And in the last like really 10 years, it's crystallized for me that that's really what if I can spend my time helping an organization connect where it wants to go in its ambition, where the business wants to go, how it wants to help customers do what they love in a meaningful way.
Yep.
But I can do that through the lens of the people side of it. That's how I want to work in the business.
That gives you the most joy.
That gives me the most joy.
Okay.
And it's one of these things that over time I've found, like in the context of running a company or an organization, I think that's also what I'm best at. So it's those two things together.
So you as a chief people officer, what is that? What is that? What does that mean? Like, tell us what that means, especially in the world that we live in now, right? AI, et cetera. And like that, I think that role is more front and center than it ever has been.
A couple of weeks ago, we had Take Your Kid to Work Day at Toast.
Love it.
Which at Toast we call Crouton Day. Because
I get it. It's cute.
We'd never waste an opportunity for a good pun.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's good. It's good.
Our pets are called biscuits.
Get out.
Come on.
It's too far.
So I took my 2 boys, who are my 2 youngest. We did a lot of cool stuff there. They met a lot of people who I work with every day, and I was really excited for my peers to meet my kids and vice versa. As we were leaving, my middle said, okay, but I don't understand. What do you really do? And so what I explained to him was everybody at a company has a job to try to make that company as successful as possible. Yeah. We build things that people use. We help those people learn how to use them. In order to do that really well, we have to get really good people to the company. And once they're there, we need to make sure that they're really happy with what they do. And my job is to help get all those people to the company to make them really happy. And so that was what I explained to my 11-year-old.
I get it.
When it comes down to it, I think ultimately my job is to make this company as successful as possible. The lens I have on that job is that if I go back to what I said at the start, I try to work to find amazing people, to bring them in to achieve the ambitions that we have as the company. I do that through a lot of thought and time and energy on the makeup of the company, where we need to find great talent, how do we make sure that we unencumber that great talent. And so like at the macro levels, that's how I think about my job. But I think of myself as a business owner. I think of myself as my team in HR as a business unit. We have products and services that we build and commercialize and ship to our customers who happen to be employees.
I love it. Okay, before we dive deeper on that, I want to pull that thread, but you mentioned being an astronaut, and obviously like there's space travel involved in that. And there's a lot of movies right now that are about space travel. So I'm keen to understand, like, from your esteemed point of view, what movie is the best? Like, what's your favorite space astronaut alien movie?
So hands down, Apollo 13.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
But that's
Tom
also
Hanks, right?
Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton. But that's also because that came out. When did that come out? In the 90s.
We were little.
We were little. We were littler.
Yes.
It was probably like when that came out, that was the space movie at the time, I guess. Or it wasn't like I couldn't latch on to aliens. That terrified the hell out of me.
Sure.
But Apollo 13, it was like the story of, it was going to the moon. It was the Apollo program,
Houston,
which to me, Houston, we have a problem, which to me is the Apollo program was the sort of the pinnacle to me at the time. But it's been amazing. I mean, the Artemis program, and our family watched like all of like the Artemis 2 launch, and I may or may not have had it in the background, like on the TV over here in my home office.
Yeah, sure.
While I was working,
Yeah.
But Apollo 13 is the one to me.
So you wanted to be an astronaut. You deviated a little bit from that. You still have an opportunity, right? To
I
go
still
back to the space
do.
program.
Yeah.
One of the things, like talking about space and sort of technology and the frontier movement that we're seeing, is AI is like ubiquitous at this point, both in technology and outside of sort of like the every person's lives. Like, it's everywhere. You have this unique role as a chief people officer at a pretty significant sized company. Right? Toast is a public company. You have thousands of employees. You have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of applications of people who want to work there. You're seeing AI probably leverage in ways that maybe, sort of the broader economy isn't, just because you guys are on the cutting edge, right? Or you have to be. Tell me a little bit about, like, how does that use, like, the way that AI is showing up for people? Is it making them nervous? Is it causing consternation? Is it causing, huge opportunities? Like, what's your take on it? Because you have a broader view than the vast majority of employees do.
I think all of these things are happening. I think that there's plenty of people who are nervous. There's plenty of people who are nervous about their jobs. They think that AI is going to replace them. There's plenty of people who are attacking it with zeal and learning as much as they can about it as quickly as they can. There's plenty of people who fall somewhere in between. My general sort of take on AI right now is that there's all this momentum and froth around it because of what it can do. And generally, like, and when I talk to my friends who are doctors or teachers in elementary school, or who work at a rehab facility, AI isn't really in their sphere. In what I do in like tech, it's so front and center. It's all right here. And so there's a little bit of we have to contextualize this a bit for those who are nervous about it, or who don't understand it, who fear it. They are already on the forefront of it because of the way that, and if you're a Toast employee, or if you're an employee at another tech company that's really trying to push this forefront, like, you are absolutely at the tip of the spear. And we have, barely cracked any of that yet. I have a couple of sort of real world examples where I've seen the power of it, but where I've also plenty of examples where it's like, we're kind of just like churning just to try to figure it out, or like, this whole concept of token maxing, of like usage. It's sort of like the people who are using it the most is like, oh my God, they're ahead. And it's like, no, that's not true. And I think, to me, if we can generally, the more I try to embrace it, the more I try to get our employees to embrace it, to understand it, to learn it, to play with it, is like table stakes. Just like, let's just do that first. We can get into AI and recruiting and hiring and onboarding and development and all this stuff, because I think AI can accelerate those things. And one of the things that I'm also really conscious of is trying to change the narrative a little bit. We are not talking about AI. We are talking about compensation strategy and performance and development. We are talking about benefits. It just so happens that we can do those things probably better, or we can get to more of it because of this technology.
Do you mean when you're talking internally from your perspective, like with your people team or your exec team, when it comes to topic of compensation, leveraging AI can help you make decisions better or faster? Is that what you mean? Just to be clear.
Well, there's been, you and I were on a panel not long ago where we were talking about AI.
Yeah.
I'm on a panel tonight about AI. It's occupying so much of our brain space.
100%.
But the thing that I've been, a little bit internally, but also just in general with the world, my general premise is like, great, here's this awesome piece of technology, but the body of work around how to improve compensation at Toast
Doesn't change.
or anywhere else is still there.
Yeah. Yep.
And my philosophy and strategy isn't changing really. It's just, I'm going to take this technology and be able to do this body of work better, faster. I can deliver better, or I can make it more successful. But this is the thing. It's not, the AI isn't the thing to me. It's the comp strategy that's the thing.
Got it.
AI, or like finding awesome people, is still the thing.
Yep.
It just so happens I can use this to make that better and better. And so one of the things that I really want to do, the more that I can, is like, no, let's not have a panel about AI. Let's have a panel about how do you find awesome people? How do you continue
Leveraging AI.
What are you going to leverage? How am I going to take this technology to make that even better and even better? Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, totally. Love that. I had two thoughts there. One, like you referenced this panel that we were on. One of the things that you said that stuck with me and a lot of people, my sense is a lot of people there, was if your quote was, "If you're overwhelmed, welcome to the party." Talk to me a little bit about that, because I think like even though we may be in tech, we are tip of the spear, as you said. There's still a lot of trepidation, and there's still a lot of like, you have token maxing, you have maybe putting your head in the sand, like on one end of the spectrum. Like it's overwhelming, even if you're a leader. Like, tell me about that.
I think part of the overwhelming thing of it is, as soon as, with Anthropic and OpenAI, as soon as these tools became available for broader use, we were reading and hearing and seeing so much of the capability.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And if I think about like a technology company right now, that where we have roadmaps, that we have customer needs, and it's a constant prioritization exercise. What can we get to? What is the most meaningful value for our customers or employees?
Yeah.
But those to-do lists are so long, and we can never get to them all. Immediately, it's sort of like, okay, how do we leverage this as quickly as possible, this technology, in order to do more or deliver it better or faster? Yep. And we all, like, that is by nature an overwhelming thing, because already you're, generally speaking, like, your to-do list is pretty stacked and there's so much you want to get done. And so now you have to take this new technology, which you don't know how to use really yet or what it can do, and apply it now in your day-to-day. And then we create these expectations around that, or we try to create the momentum around it. And people are generally, I think, can be like, oh my God, I have so much to do. Now I got to do this too?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to do this.
Yes.
And we hope for meaningful outcomes and impact, like delivering the roadmap faster or whatever it is. Now, immediately, I don't know. Yeah. So I think that is by nature overwhelming. And then so many people, I mean, myself included, like, I've been in the workforce for 25 years, whatever. Like, I've been doing work without AI
forever,
for a long time. And now I have to do the work. I have to think about the work differently. And so, like, it's sort of like you're saying to somebody, like, shift your mindset, which is like, you can't do that. You gotta, it's a process. Yeah. And when you feel the urgency on that. So my feeling is like, it's okay to be overwhelmed. And when I've talked to some of the members on leadership teams at Anthropic and OpenAI, it's like, they can be overwhelmed. So welcome to the party.
Yeah, I dig it. I think that's right. Most people would be lying if they told you they weren't at least on some level slightly
Yeah.
uncomfortable with what all of this means.
Totally.
And I think that to that end, for folks who've been in the workforce for a while, like you and I, it's really hard, right? You have, I've always called this sort of like head trash in the way that you've done something the same way repeatedly, and then to shift your mindset to something else is very difficult.
Totally.
Whether it's AI or something completely different, doesn't matter. You have to relearn a new skill, and as the saying goes, like it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, and so here we are. But on that topic, the other thing you mentioned is like leveraging AI to, in this particular case, like find great people, hire great talent. That function never goes away, and now maybe you're using AI to do that. There is a lot of discourse, certainly online, where people are, I think, frustrated, people as in job applicants, candidates, as well as recruiting functions, saying like, hey, there's just like massive arms race. They're overwhelmed with whether it's the number of applications that are being submitted through things like AI to, hey, I'm never hearing back from companies as a candidate and I'm really qualified, and yet I don't even, how do I compete with 3,000 applications in a 24-hour period? How do you, as a job seeker or somebody who's thinking, currently active, but maybe wanting to boost their potential brand, like how do you think about using AI to stand out, but not getting lost in the shuffle, or maybe not using AI? Like, how do you think about that?
I still think there's so much value in meeting people and networking still. And I have so much empathy for job seekers, especially right now, who are targeting companies who are looking at their, workforces and are like, okay, we got to evolve the workforce in some way. And like whether leadership at those companies is trying to figure that out. And so might be hesitant to continue to hire at the pace that they've been hiring. Or, you and I have seen plenty of articles about layoffs that have happened and everything else, which I have a, different perspective on. But like, I think, continuing to build networks through handshakes, through whatever, like that is still an incredibly valuable exercise.
To be clear, do you mean like when you say handshakes, in person? Yep.
And then also I get emails, whether it's through LinkedIn or just directly to me, of candidates. And like, I try really hard to, when I get those, to forward those to my team and be like, hey, this is interesting. Is this interesting? And so I think there's still a lot of value in the one-to-one, the personal connection. AI allows job seekers the opportunity to zero in on criteria of theirs that they might not otherwise be able to find. And I do the same thing as I'm trying to build a candidate map for a job. As an example, what I do is like, I know a particular type or a candidate with a certain set of skills or experience that I find to be probably valuable for this job. I'll go into ChatGPT or Claude and I'll say, what are some other folks like this person, but maybe who have more of X, Y, or Z? Similarly, I would encourage job seekers to do the same thing, where it's like, okay, I really like this company because of X, but I'm actually looking for other companies that are like this, but have criteria A, B, and C. Yep. What are those companies? This is the kind of job I'm looking at. It sort of allows, as opposed to clicking through to like many websites and apply. It's like, it allows you probably the opportunity to do that, to get a little bit more targeted and get a little bit more efficient with the whole seek side of it. If I think about Toast right now, we're building AI into the interview process so that interviewers are asking questions about how you use AI. And so my one piece of advice for job seekers is use AI in your day-to-day, even if it's in your personal life. Vibe code a game, build your financial plan, whatever it is, using AI, and talk about that in the interviews and what you learned. Yeah. Talk about that in your cover letter. And so those things I think can help a little bit.
My sense is that we're at a point too, because there's it's so easy to be, I think this is an unfair word, but it's almost easy to be lazy in terms of using AI to apply, whether it's mass apply, to make yourself look better than you might actually be, or make yourself look different than you might actually be to fit a role. That it takes very little effort to make yourself stand out and look human in a world that now doesn't look nearly as human as it did even 10 years ago. And so to your point of, hey, I can I don't have to do a lot of sleuthing to find Mike's email address at Toast, right? I don't have to do a lot of sleuthing to get your DM on LinkedIn. And if I put a little effort into like, hey, Mike, this is who I am. This is why I think I'm a good fit. And by the way, like, here are my credentials, unrelated to AI, and it doesn't have to be done through ChatGPT or Anthropic. All of a sudden, you stand out in a way that 95% of the other candidates don't. And my sense is you're already ahead of the game, right? I get, we've gone through cycles in sort of outbound sales, for instance, where people have relied on a lot of personalization in emails. Then they've relied on a lot of cadences that are templated to just sort of blast emails at people. And now the emails that work or the messages that work are the ones that are not templated. They're the ones that are not AI driven, because we can sort of sniff out what's human and what's not. So I think like you put in a bit of effort to stand out, you're probably ahead of the game.
I also think, like, going back to the value of the network, if I get a note from somebody who I really trust saying, hey, this person is just out of college, or, you know, hey, this person was in this sort of role, but they're looking for this sort of role, I will be much more inclined to take a look at that. And so it doesn't matter if you just graduated from university, or you're looking for an internship, or you've been at a company for 4 years and you want to like branch out and do something different. Everyone has built in some way a network, even if that network is through your parents and family friends and what they do. Like, I leverage the network. And to your point on like on human, the question is like, at what point will human actually be the premium? Because, you know, you and I both, we don't know what Laura's going to look like in a year, 18 months, 3 years, whatever, with AI and where that's going to go. But, you know, like, even in this world of AI, even if I'm hiring a C-suite executive, even if I'm hiring a director, whatever, you know, the value of shaking the hand and meeting them and feeling, you know, what it's like for them to be in the room with the rest of the team, whatever the situation is, human goes really far.
And so you, just to recap on that point, so you would say, obviously you're looking through the experience of Toast, but also as this broader general people leader. One, get familiar with AI on some level in your personal life. Get familiar with AI. Be ready to talk about how you've leveraged it, and maybe not so much leverage, but what you've learned from it. Because I suspect that gives you a better view of how this person interprets data, interprets information, and can then leverage it further.
Thinks about outcomes.
Things about outcomes.
Impact.
Great. Love that. Okay. And then go back to the old standby, which is your network is your net worth.
Leverage it as much as you can. Leverage it. Meet new people. Go to that meetup. Even if it's a little tangential to what you're doing. Like, meet new people. You have no idea where that can go.
Yep. 2 more thoughts there. One is, Toast has been successful from an early stage startup now to a public company for many years. There's a lot of definitions of amazing, and it probably changes on a company to company basis, but there's certainly some things that are non-negotiable across the board as what someone makes amazing.
Yeah.
You've got a unique history here because you've seen thousands of people come and go, some who are probably amazing, some who may not be, that don't work there anymore. But is there something that, like, in your view, not specific to Toast necessarily, that makes somebody amazing?
The way we've structured our sort of general performance assessment at the company is we have the what and the how. And there's one slide, and across performance categories, there's a what row and a how row. And the what row is all about like your goals and execution. How role is like how you do the work, how you partner with the teams, how you approach your job every day. Yeah. And it's rooted in our core values, which really is the articulation of the culture of the company. If I think about some of the people who are the most successful, they have a way of situationally balancing what and how in the right ways at the right time. And what I mean by that is, like, it doesn't matter if you're an entry-level employee or you're the new chief XO. You need to have a strong work ethic. You need to have an ability to problem solve first. In other words, that's not like, oh, I've I know exactly, I've seen this problem 300 times in my career at a bunch of other places. I'm going to bring all that stuff right into here. No, you got to like look at the problem. What are we trying to solve? What's the best way to solve it? Who are resilient, because like if we want to go back to the space analogy, it's like the rocket ship. It's like, I've never been on one, but it's really apparently very turbulent. It's like really bumpy. So like you bring that metaphor in, like it really is.
I don't like turbulence.
Me neither.
Hate to fly. Don't do it. Can't handle it.
I'm sort of in your camp, although I'm working on it.
I don't know. I'm pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad for me. We'll talk about that on
Okay, we'll talk about
a different podcast.
So I think like those like problem solving, work ethic, resilience are core, like table stakes, got to have those things. But beyond that, it's like are you somebody as like a culture fit, which really is like, do you agree with our value set? Is that who you are? Are you humble? Do you want to just do the right thing for teams and customers? Do you think about like the company first or yourself first? If you're think about yourself first, probably not going to work at Toast. If you think about the company first, great. So those things, but you have to do that also and with urgency on doing the job well, learning as much as you can, as quickly as you can. There's any number of things in there that you could pull apart and say like, okay, let's dive deep into this one thing. Does that matter more than this thing? Ultimately, I think some of the most successful people have high EQ. It's hard to measure it. You know it when you see it. Yep. And if you maybe are somebody who over time has struggled with that, it's the people then who are really good at situational awareness and knowing to go hard in this one thing, soft in this thing, push hard in this area, don't push hard in this area, are the people who are most successful.
Love that. That's really hard to do, by the way. Or it's really, I think your concept of situational balance, I think you both called it, is like fantastic. Okay, last question. Like throughout this conversation, where we've been weaving on some level leadership, either implicitly or explicitly. You've got this great background, wanted to be an astronaut, now you work at a tech company. When you think about leaders that you've admired, right? Local, international, past, present, whatever. Who are some of the leaders that you're like, wow? And it doesn't have to be in business, like it can be, but like, who are some of the folks you're like, that guy or gal really gets it?
I took a lot of cues very early on from Sheryl Sandberg. The quick foray between like astrogeophysics in college and being a customer support rep at Google was basically I left college, I biked across the US. With 30 other people, I started dating one of my co-riders who lived in California. After the trip, we landed in San Francisco. After the trip, I went back to my town north of Boston. I sold like my family's house, and I was working at a golf shop, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And so then I was like, screw it. I just threw a bunch of clothes in my car and took a month and drove west to California to her parents' house, where I basically crashed on her couch. 3 weeks in, a friend of mine had just gotten a job at Google, and I had like $40 to my name. And she was like, if you want, I can at least like funnel your resume to the right spot. So she did. I remember the interview, which I'm pretty sure I bombed. Somehow I got a job.
You didn't bomb it that badly.
So I sit down, first day of work, I'm 23, like in corporate America, which I'd never conceptualized because I was a scientist through college. And I landed in Sheryl Sandberg's division at Google. Kim Scott ended up coming in, who wrote Radical Candor, and reported to Sheryl, and then a guy named Russ Laraway was also in there, and I ended up reporting up to Russ. Russ reported to Kim, Kim reported to Sheryl. Russ and Kim went on to start Candor Inc. together. Russ was the chief people officer of Qualtrics after his time at Google. And Sheryl Sandberg obviously has done so many amazing things too. And through those three, I learned, like, Sheryl has this incredible way of communicating with people. She meets you where you are. She levels with you. She makes things sound like the most complex things sound so simple. She taught me so much about how to communicate with people. She doesn't know that, and but like that's true.
Maybe she will now.
Maybe she will now. Russ taught me so much about how to really grow people. Russ at the time, this was like 2004, we were building AdSense Online International, and we were all sitting in Mountain View, California, really. But Russ was running, like thinking about an international segment, and I came to him and I said, we have tons of customers in Australia. We need somebody to go to Sydney and build up that base and sell new customers, et cetera. And he's like, okay, go do it. I'd never managed before. And I'm moving thousands of miles away from my manager. And he just, he knew that the way that I learned was to be thrown in the deep end. And then when I got back, he gave me all these, stretch assignments and new projects that totally took me out of comfort zone. And so there are these couple people in my life who I have learned so much from, but very different, that I think have taught me the pieces of what incredible leadership is that I hope to emulate in my day-to-day.
I love that. I think that's a great answer. Great answer. Awesome. Thank you.